Hi guys, this is Ben Morton and welcome to this week's Friday Thoughts video, as always featuring Sadie the Beagle. There she is. She would say hello, but she's a dog so she can't, right? So this week's video is really a reflection on something that's been going on in my business lately, which is around complexity and how we deal with the wonky cogs, whether those wonky cogs be part of a process or even the wonky cog might be a person in the business or team. So despite being a relatively small business, I have a growing team, a growing support team, and there is more and more complexity creeping into the business. And this week a few of the cogs started to get a little bit wobbly. It's mainly because our podcast has got 4 or 5 different types. The processes touch different people and different people need to do different parts of those processes in order for us to deliver the podcast to you. And something cropped up this week and a member of my team said, "Oh, sorry guys, I think I'm the wonky cog here." Now, without making this video too long, I immediately said, "No, you're not the wonky cog. Actually, sorry, it's my fault. As the MD of this business, I should have made sure that the processes were clear, that roles and responsibilities were clear, so the cogs didn't get wobbly." And this is one of the reflections. Maybe next week's video I'll reflect on our responsibility as a leader to take accountability for everything that goes on in the business. But complexity is easy, right? It's easy to create complex processes. Vague roles and responsibilities are easy. It's easy to neglect to assign appropriate time to making sure it's really clear who does what and what their responsibilities are. But our businesses only ever get more complex, really. It's very rare for a business or process to suddenly get a lot simpler. Our businesses only start to operate faster and harder. It's rare for the machine to slow down. So unless we find the time to pause, to make sure the processes are fit for purpose, are really clear and efficient, unless we find the time to simplify the processes, because as I said, it's easy to create a process that's complex, and unless we find the time to pause and get really clear on who does what, get really clear on the roles and responsibilities, things will only get worse. Those cogs will just get wobblier and wobblier as we add more cogs to the machine and as we ask the machine to spin faster and faster. So this week's reflection, I guess this week's challenge for you, is to carve out the time, to make the time, to force you and your team to step off the hamster wheel, pause the machine, mixing all sorts of metaphors here, so you can review those processes, get them as simple and as effective as possible, and make roles and responsibilities as clear as possible, to then enable you to crank up the machine and really get it spinning and operating at maximum capacity. That's what I'm working hard to do in my business, and it is hard, it's not easy, but that's where the real results and benefits come, I believe. Hope it's been useful, folks. Take care. I'll see you next week. Lead on.